Instagram, good. Okay, we are live. Welcome. So we got Tucker. Who else do we have live with us here?
Francisco and David.
Francisco and David. So guys, everyone joining us live, those that might be catching the recording, we're going to do a Q&A tonight. Everything real estate wholesaling. Just before we were getting ready to go live, got a text from this awesome trio here. These are my active students in the Drive for Dollars Mastery program that have a deal on the line. And I was like, man, just join us live. We'll start the Q&A and kick it off with some one-on-one coaching for these students that have the deal on the line. So take it away with your question, and then we'll go from there.
All right. So the first question I have is, so we sent out a big email to all of our potential investors. And so the first thing I want to know is what's probably the first thing that's going to happen once we all get to the property for the showing, I guess. Like what should we expect from them on like what they're going to be like, and what pretty much to do and not ruin everything within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. So perfect. Great question. So for everyone joining us live, situation is this, okay, to kind of fill you in. We are going to do a real estate wholesale deal here, right? Tucker and Francisco and, the team, we're going to, they've got a deal under contract, and they're going to find a buyer for this opportunity and pass the buy and sell agreement onto them. So they're basically getting a finder's fee for this deal. According to the numbers, we think it's worth about $150,000 fixed up. What do you guys have it under contract again for?
We have it under contract for $52,000.
You have it under contract for $52,000. You sent it out to your cash buyers list. You did that beforehand, built a list of buyers, got their emails, phone numbers, and you're blasting this deal out. What did you blast it out
at? We blasted it out at 82.
So we have a potential $30,000 profit deal here, where you're literally just selling the contract for $30,000. Pretty good chunk of change. Love it. Not bad for your first deal, especially. So 30 grand on the line right now. The question though is, we blast this deal out. What's the process, not just with the buyers coming, but the sellers, and making sure that the process and the inspection period goes well to where we can get a buyer lined up, get all the paperwork to the title company, and get paid. All right. This is where it gets scary, because we have potentially $30,000 on the line, just to kind of paint a picture for everyone joining us live. So, the first thing that I highly suggest, let me turn down this microphone, by the way, it's like deafening my ears. Okay. So, the first thing is, if you guys remember in the course, is setting expectations with the seller, right? What I do is, once we've signed a buy and sell agreement with the seller, I set the expectation. I say, here in the next day or two, you guys are going to be getting a, we're going to have an inspection day. I don't have that exact time or date yet. And a lot of times I try and set that date. So usually I'm like, okay, I need about 7 to 8 days to market the opportunity, get people lined up to show up. And I mean 7 to 8 business days. So let's say maybe Wednesday next week. So if you haven't done this, you can call the seller and say, hey, like, I want to set the expectations for the inspection. I just want to line up a time that makes sense. Is this a house that they live in? Is this a for sale by owner where they live in it? Or is this an absentee vacant house? What's the situation of the house?
So the house is vacant, but it was rented out a couple years ago, and the owner was going to put money into it, but then it became too much work. So he said no. So It's vacant right now.
Okay. So what I try to do on a vacant house, this is way easier, because you don't have to deal with the homeowner being there, or the homeowner, having people, like tons of people, go through their primary residence, right, with all their personal belongings there. Makes them very uncomfortable, but you can navigate it just fine to where it's not a big deal. Where it's vacant, what I try and say is like, hey, we're going to have a bunch of people come through, inspections, potential partners, so forth. It's easier if I can just put a lockbox on there for people to inspect the house. Is that okay if I get a key for the inspection period? Normally we can do that. If they're not willing to do that, I say, okay, let's set up a day and a time that we can try and get everyone through. Have you asked to be able to get keys for inspection? Have you asked that yet?
Yep. So he said that we can come anytime, that he just pretty much leaves it unlocked for now. So it's a really small town. So like nobody knows about it.
Okay, well, it just stays unlocked.
Yeah.
That's fine too. That's just as good as a lockbox. Well, that's perfect. If it's unlocked, I would go double check it. I just go run, drive by, and make sure it is unlocked. Um, Maybe unlock like a back window that's easy to access, just in case it does get locked by someone. You can say, "Hey, like, keep the door unlocked, please. You can get in through this window." Um, that's nice because it's vacant, right? So now what I would do is you blast out the email, and then when people contact you, I do not like to put the time and date or even that the house is vacant, go check it out, because someone can go check it out and not make an offer. It's kind of like a seller. Call me back if you want to sell. That's a horrible way to do business, right? You'd say, okay, well, fantastic. I'll call you tomorrow. This is what the purpose of that call tomorrow is, right? So if someone's potentially interested in buying your deal, you want to have a follow up with them. So I put enough interest or enough information on my email. I give you my email template. Um, um, and try and get people to call and say, "Hey, I'm interested in inspecting the property." And I explain the situation. I say, I'm wholesaling the deal. It's an off market deal. I'm taking highest and best. The house is vacant. When could you get out there and look at it? Okay, fantastic. You can get out there today. Well, I'm taking highest and best by tomorrow night or Wednesday or whenever you guys decide. And you push everyone through to get you an inspection. And I make a note of who went there, and who's planning on going there and when. And I push to get at least 4 offers on every single deal. I want at least 4 cash offers. And the reason for this is I will get a good range of where my offers should be. For example, if I only have one investor come to look at the property, he's going to lowball me because he knows he's the only one. He doesn't have to compete. But if you have too many people, right, they're going to feel like that's not worth their time, and someone's going to make some stupid offer, and they're not going to be that interested. So you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity there as well. So, and then that's also if you blast out the deal too high, where people aren't going to waste their time on it because, according to their numbers, there's no margin, right? So you're better off to send it a little lower than you think people will pay and just say highest and best. So when people call, I say, here's the situation, here's the plan. If the owner's going to be there, if it's a property that you're wholesaling where the people live in the house, I say, hey, here's the time in the inspection. Please come. Remember, you're there just to inspect the house, and come up with an offer. We can talk numbers after. Please don't talk about the price or negotiate or buying or anything else. There's going to be a couple other people that'll be inspecting as well to make me an offer. And just remember to inspect it, and then we'll talk afterwards. I'm going to take highest and best. I will not tell anyone what your offers are. I'm just going to take highest and best on this deal. Understood? Fantastic. So you need to set expectations with the seller and expectations with your buyer to make sure things move smoothly, right? And your job, once you do find a buyer that's your highest and best offer, obviously you guys are going to call me directly before you sign any papers. I'll walk you through that next step. But for those that are joining us live and are, a little unsure of what the next steps, you got to have an assignment contract that outlines you're buying this contract from me that's going to allow you to close on this address. The closing date's this. Your total purchase price under the underlying contract is this much. My assignment fee is this much. My non-refundable money that you pay me directly is this much. So at the closing, you'll need to bring this much. And then they sign those papers, and you take that contract to the title company. The title company should have the original buy and sell agreement as well. So, that's the logistic process. I usually always get at least $5,000 in non-refundable earnest money. So the contract between me and the whole or the flipper or the person buying the contract from me, there's the assignment contract, the contract that states that he's buying the deal from me, but it's not locked in until I have a non-refundable cashier's check or a wire into my account. And I give them 24 hours of signing that contract to get it to me, right? And it's very clear and it's in my agreement. So that would be my suggestion, right? Because you don't want to be jerked around by someone if they're not going to give you non-refundable, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Gotcha.
and then one more quick thing. If your closing date on your buy and sell agreement, your original agreement with the seller, let's say is May 15th, I try and always make at least 5 days or so before for the deadline for the new buyer to close. Because let's say he backs out last second, well, you still have 5 days to go with your second best offer, and you don't lose out on anything.
Gotcha.
and you get their non-refundable earnest money.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think after this one, though, we're going to have to get a different contract because we had our attorney for our LLC write one up. And I think he did the assignment of option to purchase real estate, and then and then an option to purchase real estate for the seller, or for the homeowner. And I think that really limits us to what we can get out of the buyers. Just because like we have to disclose how much like we got the property for.
No, you don't have to do that. The buyer's its highest and best, because
Okay.
we're closing 2 6-figure wholesale deals. We're closing one today. We fund and record tomorrow for $110,000. And it is on our contract how much our assignment fee is.
Okay, gotcha.
So
pretty
so
much-
I always get this question. Well, if you're going to make tens of thousands of dollars, you're going to even make more than your flipper. Are they going to be okay with that? 1000%. And if they're not, I'm going to go with the other guy, because, the conversation is this, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're making 100 grand. I'm not going to pay you that much. Like, fine. It was a good deal until you found out I was making money and being successful. If you're so small minded to think that if, I'm successful, then that's not a good deal for you. Why would I ever want to do business with you? If I make money and I'm successful, right, I'm going to bring you more deals. But if you have the mindset that I should make less than you, I never want to do business with you again. So you can move forward with this, or I'll blacklist you and you'll never see another deal and I'll go work with someone else. What would you prefer?
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
it. That's how you handle that. You don't owe them anything. You deserve to make a ton of money. You've done a ton of work. You've built the buyers list. You've done the marketing. You've worked your tail off. You've paid for coaching. I mean, the thing is if they wanted to go do direct to seller marketing and go through the hassles of generating their own deals, they should. And a lot of them do. Right. And if it's a good deal for them at the offer they made you, then it's a good deal for them. It shouldn't matter that you're making money. Does that make sense? I never double close. I never try and hide how much money I'm making, because I understand the value I'm providing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Makes us feel
because
a lot
if you
better.
double close or try and hide how much you're making, you can do that, but you basically have to close on the property, then resell it. So you're having to pay closing costs twice. You're also having to pay for private money or a transactional funding to buy the deal and immediately sell it, which is going to cost you anywhere between 1 to 3% of the total purchase price, which is a waste of money.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. That makes us feel a lot better about that then.
Yeah.
So
yeah, $30,000 is my average deal size, guys. Like it's not a big deal to make that kind of money on a wholesale deal if you know what you're doing.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a great question. So
I think.
Are you guys comfortable? Have you done the email blast yet?
We haven't. We're getting that written up right now.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
We're getting that sent out. So we just wanted to ask you a couple of those questions because, like, this is our first one, so we just wanted to know what to be ready for, and like, what kind of like on average what kind of questions you hear from the buyers when they show up, like. Do they typically like give you a hard time, or do they, is it pretty?
No. I mean, that for the most part, you might have some bad eggs, but you got to realize you don't have to work with them ever again. Right. So we've had people that are complete ding dongs, and sometimes Hayden comes in. He's like, dude, that inspection was painful. There was this guy there, blah, blah, blah. He's like, can I blacklist him? 100%. Right. Like we don't want people to feel like, we want it to be a situation where they come in, they make an offer. So the whole priority is to get people there. And we're very, transparent. Hey, our suggested asking price on this opportunity is this much. If it needs to be less, that's fine. If it needs to be more because you can afford to pay that much and it's still profitable for you, great. You should probably do that. I'm going to get a handful of offers, not a ton, but my goal is to have 3 offers or so. And, if 3 to 4 offers, and I'm going to take highest and best. I'm not going to disclose how much it is. I want you to have a chance. I want you to have a chance on every deal that I put out. I hope to do more deals with you in the future. If we don't do this one together, maybe the next one, but just make the best offer that you can. What that does is it forces them to kind of stretch their numbers to make an offer that's competitive, yet they're still going to make an offer where there's meat on the bone for themselves. And so, And then the other thing, the reason I do this is if my highest offers are under what I have it under contract for, those are the people I go to. It's like, okay, this is your offer. I was way off on my evaluations. Can you help me walk through your numbers so I can understand what's it worth fixed up? What's your remodel cost? Why is that your offer? Right. And you're going to learn a lot from these investors that are putting money on the line, right? These are going to be the best ones to educate you on your deals in your market to the situation, right? You're providing deals for them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to give them a deal. One of the biggest mistakes that new wholesalers make is they only have one or two cash buyers and they become employees. And they're like, oh, it's okay if I make $2,000 to $5,000 when they should be making tens of thousands of dollars per deal if they have a handful of buyers and getting multiple offers. So your job is to try and get at least 7 people to that inspection and try and get 4 offers from those 7.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. And then so this came up at our meeting, which we talked to our attorney about it. And he says that we don't have to be there, but I guess normally do we have to be there for at the title company for the signing, or is that just
Nope.
all on them?
Nope. I don't ever go to the closing for our wholesale deals. So the on our contracts, and what I suggest is the seller 1000% works with your title company always. Sometimes your end buyers will demand that they use their title company for closing. I say that is 1000% just fine, but the sellers will close at our title company. And I want that because I want my title company to be the ones interacting and working with that seller and keeping them happy and on board. And there's expectations that I've set with that title company. Plus, I want to make sure my title company is making money because they're the ones that do the title reports and help me clear title, which a lot of the times with these problematic properties is a lot of work in comparison to their compensation on a regular easy retail type deal. So yeah, you don't necessarily need to be there. My title company also scheduled the closings for the seller and the end buyer at different times. um, I don't want them all at the same time there talking about price and wholesale fees and the HUD statements and that kind of stuff. I want them separate. So I'm fine if the buyer wants to use their own title company. And a lot of these big flippers, they're very adamant about that, which they can be. And according to the purchase agreements that we use, is the buyer pays all closing costs. And if they're like, dude, I'm paying all the closing costs, I want to be able to use my title companies. And I say that is just fine, but only on the buyer side. The seller side will be with this title company.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm sure you guys will have more questions. You have your action steps, right? Let's blast this deal out. Let's get at least 7 people committed to getting out there in the next day or two to inspect the property. Let's work to get these 4 cash offers. When you've got those four cash offers, let's try and get that done by Thursday afternoon, if possible, right? Friday at the latest. And then call me when you have those 4 cash offers, and or if you have other problems or issues in between, okay? Just call me or text me. Let's get on the phone. Let's get you guys out on that success wall.
Gotcha. All right. Sounds
Heck
good.
yeah. Okay. Proud of you guys. Proud of your hard work and sticking through to this point. This is exciting.
Yeah. We appreciate your help. So you helped us a long way. So
Heck yeah. Well, it's an honor. It's a privilege to be able to support you guys. So for y'all that are joining us live, these are a trio of mine that I'm coaching, helping them get their very first wholesale deal. If you're curious about having my support and coaching you just like this throughout the process, there's links in all my bios to book calls. So go ahead and do that if you're curious about my coaching. But now we're going to open it up to Q&A for everyone. Any questions you guys might have, go ahead and chime in. Are you going to send them to me through WhatsApp, Daniel? Let me open up my computer so I can get those questions from you guys. Oh, it's not what we remember. How did we do it last time? A message. Got messages coming in. I'm just going to open up my app here. when are we on? Are we today right here? Thomas said so they can use two title companies when doing a deal. Yes. So every real estate transaction, there's the buyer side and there's the seller side of the transaction. And there's closing costs usually associated with both ends of that transaction. So you can actually use one title company for the seller and one title company for the buyer side and split costs and between the two companies. But I always have, when I'm wholesaling a deal, the seller that I've been directly working with works with the title company that we start with. Because as soon as I have a buy and sell agreement, my core processes are is I send that purchase contract to my title company to immediately within 24 to 48 hours, business hours, to get me a preliminary title report. I want to know, do I have any liens? Do I have any judgments? Do I have anything on that title that's going to keep me from selling it without knowing about it? Right? Is there any unknown owners on this property? Right? Are we 100% certain that the person that I have a buy and sell agreement with is the one that owns it? This happens all the time, guys. And so I want to have that feedback, that preliminary title report is what it's called, within a short period of time. So if I need to go and fix and renegotiate and ask for discounts on the payoffs, I can, right? And I usually close the buyer side at my title company. Usually I request that. I say that's what I want. And if they, the end buyer puts their foot down, I say, you're allowed to use your title company for the buyer side. That's fine. And I'll call my title company, explain. But one of the other reasons I have my title company, they get that title report to me, but then they also are required within 24 hours, business hours at least, to contact the seller and introduce themselves. And I want them to be like, hi, this is Corey. That's who we use at Stewart Title, by the way, here in Utah. If you guys are in Utah, she's the best. Freaking love that lady. But she'll reach out and say, hey, I'm Corey. I'm going to be the one that's doing the paperwork and the title work. Zach will be, Zach and his associates will be sending the money here and we'll be sending it to you and navigating, signing all the paperwork and introduce themselves and their company and where they are and that kind of stuff, just to build more rapport and trust and confidence that things are moving forward in a positive direction. So, yeah. How long have they been working on their first deal? Are they still with us live? Hey, Tucker and team, how long have you guys been students of mine?
2-3 months.
Yeah, like 3 months.
Yeah. So yeah, that's very much right where I want them to be. My focus is to get people their first wholesale deal in about 3 months, from knowing very little. What's your guys' background, by the way? Have you had real estate experience? How old are you guys, just so the audience can see?
So I'm 22, turning 23 this May.
Okay. 22.
I'm 20. I turned 21 in 3 months. So,
okay.
But then you can go ahead.
Yep. I'm 23 and I have a little bit of experience in real estate. My parents own a few rental properties.
Okay.
I help them out here and there, so
young guys, right? Young guys, they've been doing it for a couple months. Many of you probably are chiming in live and have been trying to do this for years. It's probably because you need a coach. But yeah, if you do it right, if you follow the action steps, what has your guys' experience been like authentically, guys? If you could chime in going through the process, has it been a little scary? Has it got you uncomfortable? Like, can you guys share?
Yeah. So we've taken a lot of time for this, a lot of time that we couldn't really afford, but we're trying to really push through with it. And there's definitely been some times where we've been like, man, it's taken a while, but we just stick through it. And, you've helped us along with, if we hit a roadblock, then, you help us like, oh, we'll do this. Like at first, we just didn't know really anything about it. And then we got on the phone with you and then you pretty much told us step by step, like we need to get a contract, like actually approved by an attorney. And we didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So that was, one of our first things we did. But then, after that, you pretty much told us everything where like, we tried to do it on like YouTube and stuff, but we couldn't ever figure out anything without, actually having a one-on-one because you couldn't ask questions about it or anything like that. So.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. There's a lot of great information, right? Everybody, there's YouTube, podcasts, Instagram. Like I have all of that and I have tons of free content. I give it all away for free and I teach everything I can. I really want to make a difference. And there are some people that can figure it out, but it takes them a long time and they make a lot of mistakes that they wouldn't normally have to make if they had, hey, I've done all the things that I knew that I was supposed to do, but now I'm at a roadblock. What do I do now? How do I do it? Right. If you go to hire a coach, guys, I'm telling you guys, I'm talking about hiring a coach, but I'm not just saying this to try and get you guys to become students. Like I really do want to help people. And if you think that I'm unauthentic to the point where I'm just pitching my course and I'm just here because I just want your money and I just want you to be my student so I can get paid, get a different coach because you don't relate with me. You don't connect. You don't see my authenticity in trying to help you. Right. So go get a different coach because that is the advice. You need someone that has been there, done that, or doing deals themselves, wholesaling themselves, but more importantly, consistently getting results for other people that are consistently helping other people get their first deal. And that the second part of helping people is so important because it takes the heart of a teacher. It takes someone that's willing to take calls, to push people along, to find a way to find time and create time to be there for their students. Right? I asked these guys to jump on this live because I already had to do this live. It wasn't like planned, hey, like let's go do a live. I was planning to do this live and I had them jump on to help them because I didn't have any other time to do it. So I always find time. I always create time to help people through the process. And you got to get a coach that's going to do that because that is so important when you have a super simple question that you have that needs to be answered and it's time sensitive, right? I mean, time will kill all deals always. And so if you have someone there on time, there to help you to get that deal across the finish line, I mean, these deals are tens of thousands of dollars, guys. I've got 2 6-figure deals right now. It's mind blowing to me. Not too many years ago, I was washing windows, and I remember the first day I made $1,000. I thought I had won the lottery, and now I'm doing 6-figure deals, multiple 6-figure deals within a 30-day period, right? Like it's life changing stuff when you really figure this stuff out. And I did that by investing into a coach. I beat my head against a wall for 3 years trying to figure out wholesaling. You know how many deals I did in those 3 years? 0 deals, guys. None. Right. And I hired a coach and it made all the difference. So very, very important. Okay. Sorry, I got long-winded on that one. I've got a buyer who I don't know, but is offering most on a deal I have. Heard you state how I have a non-refundable money. How do I protect myself? Fantastic. So on my assignment contract, a lot of the buyers, probably 10 to 20% of our buyers will come along and buy a deal from us, and we've never talked to them before, and we won't talk to them again, at least in the next year or two, right? So there are a portion of people we've never worked with. Regardless if we worked with them or not worked with them, our process is we sign an assignment contract, and then we also get non-refundable cashier's check. In the beginning, you're going to get pushback. You're going to be like, well, I'll take it to the title company. It's like, no, I've already got earnest money with a title company for the buy and sell agreement. I have earnest money on the deal. This is not earnest money for the purchase contract. This is earnest money that you're buying the contract from me. This is a contract between you and I. And if you're going to perform on it, I need to have confidence that you're going to perform on it. And I require non-refundable earnest money or down payment money, whatever you want to call it, right? I have to have this money within 24 hours of signing the contract, or I'm going to work with someone else, right? You might be able to negotiate a lesser amount, but I won't waste my time with someone that's not willing to put some money down, right, to lock in a solid deal with meat on the bone. It's really protected us. It's kept us from being pushed around. So if you guys want to watch my 40-day challenge on YouTube, go to my YouTube channel and go to playlists. I did a 40-day challenge where I did 3 wholesale deals. I made $93,000 on 3 wholesale deals in just 40 days. It's documented day by day. And one of the deals that fell apart, I only had one buyer, and they jerked me around. They said they'd give me non-refundable earnest money, and then they never gave me non-refundable earnest money, and they jerked me around and kept changing the price on me. And it was so freaking frustrating, right? Because I was desperate to get deals for the challenge. I was dealing with it here in Utah with my systems now. There's no way in hell I'd spend time working with a potential buyer that's not willing to give non-refundable earnest money, because that is 1000%. That is what's going to happen, right? Is you're going to get jerked around because they have no skin in the game. Beautiful. Thomas said, but the closing side will be ours and the buyer will pay both closing costs. Correct. That is correct.
Exactly. Francisco has a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Or about the.
So you know how you told us to blast that property, the multiple cash buyers, right?
Yep.
How do we go about it with like the advertisement part? Like, do we create like pictures on Google Docs and put like, you know, information like what's been updated, what, you know, 3-bed, 2-bath, that kind of stuff on there?
Yeah. So in the course, there's a section on dispoing your deal. And I give you my exact template. I share how to create the email, what email blast system to use, all of that stuff. Also in the beginning of the course, I ask you to get on other wholesalers' cash buyers lists to see their templates. So you can model it after my template I give you in the course. Have you seen that? Or you can model one of your competitors' templates.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's what we do. We have a hyperlink that they can click on to see pictures. And I think we're using Dropbox to archive those pictures. I can't remember.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, it's all in there.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Great question. Yeah, definitely go watch that section of the course, guys, right? Dispoing your deal. And then Kyle said, how do you get pictures of the property if you're virtual wholesaling? Should you ask the seller? Yeah, you can definitely ask the seller if you're doing virtual wholesaling. You could also ask a local real estate agent to help you, or get someone that's boots on the ground. Kyle, I don't do virtual wholesaling, not really. I'm doing virtual land. I actually have, since the beginning of the year, I've bought and sold 3 pieces of land in Florida virtually, and I have 3 more, sorry, that I've purchased and or listed so far. But land is different, but I still have a real estate agent that'll go out and take pictures and take a look at the property, and look for things that may not have been told to me. Like, is there any structures from the neighbors that are built that might be on a portion of my land? Is there any drainages or canals or water structure that would get in the way of construction of a building on the land? So there are things that I will send someone to look at, but I don't love the virtual model when it comes to wholesaling, because I think there's even more obstacles and struggles that comes to being successful. I'm not saying you can't, but my job's to get people to be successful and get their very first wholesale deal within 3 months. And I want to have complete control of making sure that can happen. And I just don't want to handle that roadblock. Right. Plus, I would never tell you guys to hire a coach unless they're doing and accomplishing exactly what you're trying to do. And that's not something I'm doing. So I can't really give advice, like real good advice with actual data and actual experience behind me if I'm not already doing it. So, maybe find a coach that like that's their jam. They're doing virtual wholesaling and they're really good at it. But that's not me. And I'll tell you, right now, like that's not what I do or what I specialize in. Do you approach owners of, I love the name Butter Smuggler. Do you approach owners of a pre-foreclosure homes differently than other distressed properties? 1000% I do not. I do not change my script. So the rule of thumb is this. If your sales script, if your negotiation script changes, if a family member calls you wanting to buy or wanting to sell their house to you, you're doing it wrong. My job's to help people. My job's to find someone that does want to sell their house. And then when they do, I give them options and talk about their options. You might make more money if you don't work with me, Mr. Seller. Why don't you fix it up and, try and list it with an agent, try and squeeze as much out of it as possible? Why don't you just keep it as a, a rental, right? Well, you're defaulting on your payments, you're behind. Have you thought about trying to refinance, right? And trying to renegotiate the loan instead of selling it quickly at a discount to me, right? Have you looked at these options? And my job is to figure out what they really want and what they really need, just as if it was my aunt or uncle. Talk about their options and their problems and try and help them. And if the option of working with me and being done quickly as a cash offer and having it done fast and conveniently, then I'm there for them and I'm going to make a lot of money, and they understand that, and that's disclosed, right? That I'm going to make a profit. It is on my contract that they're selling the house at a discount for me to make a profit. I put it in there because I want it to be a wholesome transaction. I want people to know that I'm taking care of their headaches for them for compensation, right? And so what that does is it really weeds out the people that really want to work with you or don't, but it also is the ones that do need to sell their house quickly and want to work with someone and they're emotionally done with their property. They're going to trust you. They're going to like you. They're going to sign a contract with you for less than the competitors are offering because they trust you, because you're trustworthy, because you actually authentically care about human beings and you're willing to walk away from money if it means that someone else benefited because they worked with you, right? And your focus is not always on yourself, but the greater good of what you're trying to accomplish. Our job is to help people, right? You guys need to realize there's an abundance of opportunity. There's an abundance of people that want speed and convenience over price. It's just you're not doing the work it takes to go find those people. That's the only reason it's not happening to you every day. It happens to me once to 3 times a week right now because I have a team. We're doing the marketing. It works. It's real, right? And oh wow, we went way over time, Daniel. Okay, last question. I'm sorry, I didn't realize how late it was. So sorry. This is my first contract. It's a single family home. This is our student. I really want to cross the finish line. Can foundation be a deal breaker? I'm very new at this. Just taking imperfect action. I finally got the contract. I got 2 buyers who showed up. Both walked away because of the foundation. Thoughts, no offers. Yeah, so foundation definitely can be one of those big ones. One of the things you can do is you can actually call a foundation repair company and figure out what the repair costs are. They can give you a bid. And I've done this before where I've contacted my cash buyers and say, hey, I've had this company inspect it. This is the price to fix the foundation. I'd call back those 2 inspectors or those 2 cash buyers and say, hey, here's the bid I got. What would your price need to be? And they might be like, nah, it's just too much work, too much headache, too much time with private money out on the deal. It's not worth doing. And if you had someone out there to inspect the foundation, they might say it's a tear down, then you got to renegotiate the value of land. One of the things that I love about wholesaling is where you're new, you don't have to take on the risk and buy the house and try and sell it for a profit and find out after you've made the investment, you borrowed money, that it has a foundation and you're upside down 100 grand, right? This is where you can go to your cash buyers and say, hey, like here's, it had foundation issues. I went and got a bid. This is the bid. Why won't you do the deal? What would your price be if you did do the deal? Right. And your focus is to get at least 7 people to inspect the property and 4 cash offers. That's the rule of thumb always. But that would be my suggestion. Find more cash buyers, get more offers, and get an educated number from people. Okay, beautiful. All right, guys. Well, we are out of time. Appreciate you being here. Let me know. Go to the links in my bio, right? There is a link there that you can jump in and book a time on our calendar to talk to me about coaching you guys through this process. I've been there. I've done it. I understand how frustrating it can be to try and figure this stuff out on your own. And more importantly is I've figured out a way to consistently get people results. It usually takes me 2 to 3 months of coaching you to help you guys get your first wholesale deal. There's a link in my bio. Go check it out. If you have questions, go ahead and DM me anywhere you're following me here. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have beyond this. Appreciate you all so much. We'll talk to you soon.